Tonight, I'm going to tell you about a living thing that is neither a plant nor an animal, that surrounds the planet like a secret internet network, and that can even be immortal: mushrooms. As the world outside settles into a deep and peaceful slumber, let your own mind drift into the quiet, damp earth, into a kingdom of profound mystery and silent wisdom. We are not in the world of rustling leaves or stalking animals, but in a third kingdom entirely, a realm of soft growth and secret connections. Each fact we explore tonight is like a tiny spore, carrying within it a universe of wonder, ready to float gently into your dreams. So settle in, breathe slowly, and let us begin our journey. Fact 1. Mushrooms, as we know them, are not plants. For centuries, they were classified as such, but they belong to a kingdom all their own, the fungi kingdom. Unlike plants, they do not perform photosynthesis to create their own food from sunlight. Instead, they breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, much like we do. They are more closely related to you and me than they are to any flower in a garden. Imagine that, a life form that lives in a quiet space between the worlds of flora and fauna, a silent cousin to all animal life. Fact 2. The mushroom you see above ground, the cap, the gills, the stem, is only a tiny, temporary part of the organism. It is merely the fruiting body, like an apple on a tree. The true, vast, and long-lived body of the fungus is a hidden, underground network of delicate, thread-like structures called mycelium. This mycelial network is the real heart of the fungus, a sprawling, unseen consciousness that can live for hundreds or even thousands of years. Fact 3. This hidden mycelial network acts as a kind of biological internet for the forest, an idea sometimes called the wood wide web. These fine threads fuse with the roots of trees and plants in a symbiotic relationship. Through this network, trees can communicate with each other. They can send distress signals about insect attacks, share vital nutrients with younger, struggling saplings, and even transfer carbon to different species, ensuring the health of the entire forest community. It is a silent, selfless system of cooperation, happening right now, just beneath your feet. Fact 4. The primary role of most fungi is that of a grand recycler. They are nature's masters of decomposition. Without them, our planet would be buried under an immense pile of dead plants and animals. Fungi release powerful enzymes into their environment that can break down some of the toughest materials in nature, like lignin, the rigid substance that makes wood hard. They quietly and patiently unlock the nutrients from the dead, returning them to the soil so that new life can begin. They are the gentle keepers of the planet's great cycle of life and death. Fact 5. The world of fungi is a world of almost unimaginable diversity. Scientists estimate there may be as many as 3.8 million species of fungi, but we have only formally described about 150,000 of them. This means that over 90% of this mysterious kingdom remains completely unknown to us. Hidden in the soils, forests, and waters of the world are millions of secrets, millions of forms, and millions of potential new medicines and technologies, all waiting patiently to be discovered. Fact 6. Mushrooms reproduce not with seeds, but with microscopic spores. A single mushroom can release billions, sometimes even trillions, of these tiny particles into the air. Each spore is a single cell, a potential new beginning, so light that it can travel for thousands of kilometers on the wind, crossing oceans and continents. They are the silent, invisible astronauts of their kingdom, carrying the promise of life to every corner of the globe, waiting for the perfect moment of moisture and warmth to begin their gentle work. Fact 7. Some fungi are bioluminescent, meaning they can produce their own light. Deep in the forests of Brazil or Japan, you might find clusters of mushrooms glowing with a soft, ethereal green light. This phenomenon is known as foxfy. Scientists believe this gentle glow may serve to attract nocturnal insects, who then help to carry the mushroom spores to new locations. Imagine walking through a darkened wood, not guided by the moon, but by the soft, living light of the forest floor itself, a silent, magical illumination from this ancient kingdom. Fact 8. The largest known living organism on our planet is not a blue whale or a giant sequoia tree, but a fungus. Deep in the Mulhern National Forest in Oregon, there is a single specimen of Armillaria ostoi, or the honey mushroom. Its vast, interconnected mycelial network spreads underground across an area of nearly 4 square miles, the equivalent of over 1,600 football fields. It is estimated to be somewhere between 2,400 and 8,600 years old. A single, silent, and unimaginably vast being, quietly living and growing through the rise and fall of human civilizations. Fact 9. The mycelial network of a fungus can be considered biologically immortal. While the mushroom that appears above ground may live for only a few days, the underground organism is in a state of constant growth and regeneration. As long as it has a source of food and its environment remains stable, it can continue to expand its delicate threads, replacing old or damaged parts and living on indefinitely. It is a life form that exists without a concept of aging, a timeless, patient web of life that has mastered the art of quiet persistence. Fact 10. While the mycelium grows slowly and steadily, the mushroom itself can appear with astonishing speed. Some species can emerge from the ground and grow to their full size in a single night. This is not because they are creating new cells so quickly, but because the tiny, preformed mushroom, called a primordium, already exists underground. When conditions are right, the mycelium pumps it full of water, causing the cells to inflate rapidly, like millions of tiny water balloons. It is a sudden, silent eruption of life, powered by the patient work of the hidden network below. Fact 11. For centuries, people have been mystified by the appearance of fairy rings, perfect circles of mushrooms that seem to sprout magically in meadows and forests. Folklore tells of them as portals to other worlds or places where fairies dance at night. The truth, however, is a beautiful and simple story of growth. A fairy ring begins when a single spore starts to grow a mycelial network. The mycelium expands outward from this central point in all directions, consuming nutrients as it goes. The mushrooms only fruit at the very outer edges of this expanding circle where the food is most abundant, creating the perfect ring we see. It is a quiet, living monument to the fungus's patient, circular journey through the soil. Fact 12. Fungi have a unique way of eating that is entirely their own. They do not have mouths to ingest their food like an animal, nor do they create it from sunlight like a plant. Instead, they digest their food externally. The mycelium secretes powerful enzymes out into its surroundings, the soil, a fallen log, or a dead leaf. These enzymes break down the complex organic matter into simple, absorbable nutrients, which are then drawn into the fungal cells. The fungus, in a sense, extends its stomach out into the world, gently and invisibly dissolving its dinner before it ever consumes it. Fact 13. A key reason fungi are considered more closely related to animals than plants can be found in their very cells. The cell walls of a fungus are not made of cellulose, like a plant's, but of a tough, flexible substance called chitin. This is the very same material that makes up the hard exoskeletons of insects, spiders, and crustaceans like crabs and lobsters. It is a deep, ancient, and surprising chemical connection, a quiet hint that the mushroom in the forest and the butterfly in the air share a distant, common ancestor. Fact 14. The silent underground world of mycelium may not be so silent after all. Recent studies have shown that these fungal networks can generate and transmit electrical impulses, much like the nerve cells in our own brains. Scientists have recorded these pulses and found that they vary in rhythm and complexity. Some researchers even suggest that these patterns have a structure similar to a language, with the fungus potentially communicating information about food sources or injury across its vast body. It is a thrilling, almost magical idea that beneath the quiet forest floor lies a slow, thoughtful, and ancient conversation, spoken in a language we are only just beginning to hear. Fact 15. There is a group of fungi called cordyceps that has a truly remarkable and intimate relationship with insects. One species, known as the zombie ant fungus, releases a spore that infects an ant. The mycelium then grows throughout the ant's body, subtly directing its behavior. It compels the ant to leave its colony, climb the stem of a plant, and clamp its jaws onto the underside of a leaf at a precise height and orientation. Once locked in place, the fungus consumes the ant from within, and a delicate fruiting body grows out of the ant's head, ready to release its spores onto the unsuspecting ants below. It is a slow, patient, and eerily intelligent act of survival. Fact 16. Deep in old forests, growing on the trunks of hardwood trees, you might find a mushroom that looks like a cascade of soft, white icicles, or the manner of a gentle lion. This is the lion's manner mushroom. Beyond its unique beauty, it is treasured for its potential effects on the human brain. It contains compounds that are believed to stimulate the growth of nerve cells and is studied for its potential to improve memory and focus. It is a quiet testament to the idea that the forest holds not just food, but also medicine for the mind, a soft, natural treasure that supports our own intricate network of thoughts. Fact 17. Not all mushrooms rely on the wind to carry their spores. The stinkhorn fungus has a different strategy. It emerges from the earth looking like a strange, porous stalk, and it produces a sticky spore mass called a gleba. This gleba emits a powerful and pungent odor, often smelling of rotting meat. While unpleasant to us, this scent is an irresistible invitation to flies and other insects. They land on the mushroom to feast on the sweet, foul-smelling substance, and in doing so, their legs and bodies become covered in the spores. They then fly away, becoming the mushroom's unwitting couriers, delivering its genetic legacy to new and distant locations. Fact 18. On the floor of coniferous forests, you might find a strange and beautiful mushroom known as the bleeding tooth fungus. It is a lumpy, white organism that oozes a thick, bright red liquid from its pores. It looks as if the pale flesh of the mushroom is slowly and silently bleeding droplets of ruby. This startling liquid is not blood, but a result of a process called guttation, where excess water is forced out of the mushroom when the soil is very moist. This crimson dew is a beautiful, if unsettling, reminder of the strange and otherworldly forms that life can take in the quietest corners of the woods. Fact 19. Perhaps the most iconic mushroom in the world is the Amanita muscaria, the fly agaric. With its brilliant red cap and speckled white dots, it is the mushroom of fairy tales, folklore, and children's stories. For thousands of years, it has been associated with magic and shamanic rituals, particularly in Siberia. Its psychoactive properties were believed to open a doorway to the spirit world. This beautiful and potent fungus is a living piece of mythology, a symbol of the deep and ancient connection between humanity and the mysterious powers hidden within the fungal kingdom. Fact 20. The puffball mushroom has one of the simplest and most elegant designs for reproduction. It grows into a soft, spherical body, and as it matures, its interior is transformed into a dry mass of trillions upon trillions of spores. When the mushroom is ready, the slightest touch, a falling raindrop, the step of a passing deer, is enough to cause the puffball to rupture. It releases its contents in a sudden, silent, smoke-like cloud. Each particle of that dusky brown smoke is a potential new life, a vast and quiet explosion of possibility sent out into the world. Fact 21. If you look closely at an old stone wall or the bark of an ancient tree, you will see the slow, patient art of lichen. Lichen is not a single organism, but a perfect and inseparable partnership between two different kingdoms of life. It is a fungus living in a symbiotic relationship with an alga or a cyanobacteria. The fungus provides the structure, a safe house that protects its partner from the harsh environment and gathers moisture. In return, the alga, which can photosynthesize, creates food from sunlight, feeding both itself and its fungal host. Together, they can survive in some of the most inhospitable places on Earth, a quiet, colorful testament to the power of cooperation. Fact 22. The air we breathe, no matter where we are on Earth, is filled with a constant, invisible rain of fungal spores. Every cubic meter of the atmosphere contains thousands of these tiny particles, silently drifting on the currents of the wind. Most will never find a suitable place to land and grow, their journey ending in quiet oblivion. But the sheer, overwhelming number of them ensures that the fungal kingdom can reach and colonize nearly every habitable surface on our planet. It is a strategy of immense patience and astronomical odds. Fact 23. In ancient Egypt, mushrooms were held in the highest esteem, a food reserved for the gods and the pharaohs. Hieroglyphs suggest that the Egyptians believed mushrooms were a plant of immortality, a gift from the god Osiris. Their sudden, magical appearance overnight, seemingly without a seed, led to the belief that they were not of the earthly realm. To consume them was to consume a piece of divine power, a secret and sacred food that was forbidden to commoners, lest they also touch the eternal. Fact 24. One of the most important discoveries in the history of medicine came from a simple mold, a member of the fungal kingdom. In 1928, the scientist Alexander Fleming noticed that a petri dish he had left out was contaminated with a penicillium mold. He saw that the mold had created a clear, bacteria-free zone around itself. He realized, with a flash of insight, that the fungus was producing a substance that could kill bacteria. This quiet, accidental discovery gave humanity one of its most powerful tools. Penicillin, the first true antibiotic, a gift that has saved countless millions of lives. Fact 25. High in the Himalayan mountains, a strange and precious fungus grows, known as Yartsa gunbu, or the caterpillar fungus. It is a species of cordyceps that infects the ghost moth caterpillar living underground. The fungus mummifies the caterpillar and then, in the spring, sends a small, dark fruiting body up through the soil. For centuries, it has been one of the most valuable and sought-after ingredients in traditional Chinese medicine, believed to bestow immense vitality. Its discovery is a quiet treasure hunt, a search for a tiny brown sprout that marks the site of a strange and hidden symbiosis. Fact 26. The scientific name for the common button mushroom, the cremini, and the large portobello is the same, Agaricus bisperus. They are not different species, but simply different stages of maturity and different cultivated strains of the same fungus. The white button is the youngest, harvested before its cap has opened. The cremini is a slightly more mature, brown-strained version, and the portobello is the final, fully mature stage, where the cap has opened wide, revealing its dark, spore-bearing gills. It is a quiet lesson in transformation, all hidden within the life of a single, humble mushroom. Fact 27. Some of the deadliest poisons known in the natural world are found within seemingly innocent-looking mushrooms. The death-cap mushroom, Amanita phallards, is responsible for the majority of fatal mushroom poisonings worldwide. It contains potent toxins that destroy the liver and kidneys, and what makes it so treacherous is that the symptoms often do not appear until many hours after it has been eaten, by which time the damage is irreversible. Its quiet, unassuming appearance is a somber reminder of the hidden power and danger that resides within this kingdom. Fact 28. When you feel the soft, spongy texture of a mushroom, you are feeling the structure of its hyphae. The entire mushroom, from its stem to its cap, is made of countless microscopic threads, all tightly packed together to create the form we see. Unlike a plant or an animal, which has many different types of tissues like leaves, roots, or muscles, a fungus is built from only this one simple, repeating component. It is a marvel of biological engineering, creating a vast and complex array of shapes and forms from the humble foundation of a single, delicate thread. Fact 29. In the quiet darkness of some caves in Brazil, a fungus called mycelial lucent grows on decaying sticks. It is one of the few species of bioluminescent fungi that fruits during the day, yet its soft, greenish glow is only visible to the human eye in near total darkness. Scientists speculate that this continuous, gentle light serves a purpose even when unseen, perhaps as a way to regulate the fungus's own internal rhythms, a silent, glowing clock for a creature that lives its life in the perpetual twilight of the forest floor. Fact 30. The powerful digestive enzymes that allow fungi to break down wood and rock can be harnessed to heal the earth. This process is called mycoremediation. Certain types of mycelium, when introduced to soil contaminated with oil, pesticides, or industrial waste, can dismantle these complex pollutants, breaking them down into simpler, harmless compounds. The fungus quietly and patiently consumes the toxins, slowly cleaning and restoring the vitality of the soil. It is a form of gentle, natural alchemy. Fact 31. The prized culinary truffle is the fruiting body of a fungus that lives its entire life underground, in a symbiotic partnership with the roots of trees like oaks and hazels. Because they are hidden, they cannot rely on the wind to spread their spores. Instead, they produce a powerful, alluring aroma that can travel up through the soil. This scent is irresistible to animals like wild boars and trained dogs, who eagerly dig up the truffle to eat it. In doing so, they spread the spores, becoming essential partners in the life cycle of this delicious, hidden treasure. Fact 32. The humble yeast that makes our bread rise and ferments our beer is a member of the fungal kingdom. It is a microscopic, single-celled fungus that has been a partner to humanity for thousands of years. When yeast consumes sugar, it produces alcohol and tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide gas. In bread dough, these bubbles are what create the soft, airy texture we love. It is a quiet and ancient collaboration, a microscopic organism that has helped to shape our food, our cultures, and our moments of celebration. Fact 33. A strange and wonderful group of fungi are known as the bird's nest fungi. Their fruiting bodies form tiny, cup-like structures that look exactly like a miniature bird's nest. Inside each nest are several small, egg-like packets, which contain the spores. When a raindrop falls into the cup, its force and angle are just right to splash the eggs out, launching them a surprising distance away from the parent mushroom. It is a beautiful, ingenious, and entirely passive mechanism for finding a new home. Fact 34. The relationship between some fungi and algae is so complete that they form an entirely new kind of life, lichen. These hardy organisms are a composite, a perfect symbiosis. The fungus creates the physical structure and absorbs water and nutrients, while the algae lives safely within that structure, creating food for them both through photosynthesis. This partnership allows lichen to survive in the harshest environments on Earth, from frozen Arctic tundra to sun-baked desert rocks, quietly painting the world with their slow, patient, and colorful growth. Fact 35. Some fungi that grow on rye grain can produce powerful psychoactive compounds. One such fungus, ergot, has played a long and mysterious role in human history. In the Middle Ages, outbreaks of ergot poisoning could cause widespread illness and hallucinations. Some historians have even theorized that the bizarre events of the Salem witch trials in the 1690s may have been partially influenced by a batch of contaminated rye, with the fungus's strange effects being misinterpreted as demonic possession. It is a quiet reminder of how this hidden kingdom has sometimes intersected with our own in profound and startling ways. Fact 36. In the aftermath of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, within the highly radioactive remains of the reactor, scientists discovered something astonishing. A black, resilient mold was not just surviving, but thriving. These radiotrophic fungi contain high amounts of melanin, the same pigment that darkens our skin. It appears they have adapted to harness the power of ionizing radiation as a source of energy, much like a plant uses sunlight. They are quietly and patiently feeding on a force that is lethal to most other forms of life. Fact 37. The relationship between leafcutter ants and fungi is one of the oldest and most sophisticated examples of agriculture on our planet. For millions of years, these ants have been cultivating a specific type of fungus in vast, subterranean gardens. The ants don't eat the leaves they so diligently carry back to their nest. Instead, they chew them into a pulp to feed their fungal partner. This fungus is their sole source of food. It is a perfect, ancient symbiosis, a quiet story of two different species evolving together to become entirely dependent on one another for survival. Fact 38. A mushroom cannot get up and walk to a new home, so it must find ingenious ways to move. The common split-gill mushroom has a particularly clever method. By releasing water vapor from the surface of its gills, it cools the air immediately around it. This cool, dense air sinks, pushing the warmer, lighter air below it outwards. This creates a tiny, gentle air current, a personal breeze just strong enough to lift its spores up and away from the parent mushroom, helping them begin their long journey on the wind. Fact 39. Truffles are not the only fungus to produce a powerful scent. The cage fungus, with its beautiful and intricate red lattice-like structure, also produces a spore-bearing slime with a deeply unpleasant odor. This smell is a carefully crafted attractant for flies. As the insects crawl over the beautiful, strange cage, they pick up the sticky spores. The fungus sacrifices a pleasant smell for a successful journey, using the flies as its willing pilots to carry its children to new homes. Fact 40. One of the rarest and most mysterious mushrooms in the world is known as the devil's cigar. This fungus, found only in very specific parts of Texas and Japan, begins its life as a dark, fuzzy, cigar-shaped pod. When it matures, it slowly unfurls, peeling back into a beautiful tan star. This opening is accompanied by a strange and distinct hissing sound, as the mushroom forcibly releases a puff of spores. It is one of the only known fungi in the world to make a discernible sound as it fruits. Fact 41. Though not technically a true fungus, the slime mold is a creature of profound and simple intelligence, often studied by mycologists for its fungus-like behavior. This single-celled, amoeba-like organism can, when searching for food, solve complex problems. In laboratory experiments, a slime mold has been shown to find the shortest, most efficient path through a maze to reach a food source. It possesses a form of decentralized, primitive memory and intelligence, all without a brain or a central nervous system, a quiet, flowing example of life's problem-solving power. Fact 42. After a devastating forest fire, the slow, silent work of recovery begins, and fungi are among the first and most important responders. While the trees above may be gone, the vast mycelial network often survives, protected deep within the soil. This network acts as a hidden lifeline for the recovering ecosystem. It helps to stabilize the scorched soil, and as new seedlings begin to grow, the mycelium quickly connects with their roots, providing them with essential water and nutrients, and linking them to the surviving parts of the forest, dramatically accelerating the long, slow, quiet process of rebirth. Fact 43. Though it appears soft and fragile, a growing mushroom can exert incredible physical force. As the cells of the mycelium and the fruiting body inflate with water, they generate a slow, steady, and relentless pressure. A single, small mushroom has been known to push its way up through asphalt pavement, or to patiently lift a heavy paving stone in a garden. It is a quiet and powerful demonstration of how the gentle, persistent force of life can overcome even the most rigid and unyielding obstacles. Fact 44. One of the most beautiful and reliable ways to identify a mushroom is by making a spore print. If you place a mushroom cap, gills down, on a piece of paper and leave it for a few hours, the billions of spores it releases will fall and create a perfect, intricate print of the gills. These prints can be a wide array of colors, from pure white to jet black, from soft pink to rusty brown. For mycologists, this delicate, dusty pattern is a crucial clue, a silent signature that helps to reveal the mushroom's true identity. Fact 45. In the forests of eastern North America, a truly striking mushroom can be found. It is the indigo milk capital. When this mushroom is fresh, its cap and gills are deep, almost magical indigo blue. But what makes it truly special is that when its flesh is cut or bruised, it bleeds a rich, dark blue latex, or milk. This vivid, otherworldly color is a quiet and startling secret, a flash of sapphire hidden in the damp, brown world of the forest floor. Fact 46. We have learned that fungi are more like animals than plants, and this is true even in the way they get their energy. Like us, fungi cannot produce their own food. They must consume organic matter from their environment. And like us, they perform cellular respiration. The mycelium breathes, taking in oxygen from the tiny air pockets in the soil and releasing carbon dioxide. This is why a waterlogged, compacted soil is so inhospitable to them. The hidden network, in its own slow and silent way, is breathing all around us. Fact 47. A mushroom always knows which way is up. This ability is called gravitropism. The fungus needs its cap to be perfectly oriented so that its gills or pores are pointing directly at the ground, allowing its spores to fall and be caught by the wind. If a log with a mushroom growing on its side is turned upside down, the mushroom stem will slowly begin to curve, correcting its growth over hours or days until its cap is once again perfectly level with the earth. It is a slow, graceful dance with gravity. Fact 48. One of the most common and beautiful fungi you can find on fallen logs is the turkey tail mushroom. It grows in elegant, fan-like rosettes with stunning, concentric bands of color, browns, grays, blues, and whites, that resemble the tail feathers of a wild turkey. Beyond its beauty, it is one of the most extensively researched medicinal mushrooms in the world, valued for compounds that are believed to powerfully support the human immune system. It is a quiet, colorful artist of the forest, and a gentle, supportive friend to our health. Fact 49. The rich, savory, and satisfying flavor that is often described as the fifth taste is called umami. It is the taste of a hearty broth, a well-aged cheese, or a perfectly seared steak. This flavor is also profoundly present in many mushrooms, particularly in dried shiitake or porcini. The umami taste comes from naturally occurring compounds called glutamates. The mushroom, in its quiet chemistry, has mastered the flavor of deep satisfaction, which is why it has been a treasured source of richness and depth in our cooking for thousands of years. Fact 50. In the vast, open grasslands of North America, a curious partnership unfolds between the prairie dog and a specific type of desert puffball mushroom. The prairie dogs actively cultivate these mushrooms within their burrows, which are rich in nutrients. The fungi help to break down tough plant matter, and in return, the mushrooms become a reliable and important food source for the prairie dog families. It is a quiet, subterranean form of farming. Fact 51. Some historians and ethnobotanists have suggested a fascinating, though debated, theory linking the folklore of Santa Claus to the Amanita muscaria mushroom. The theory notes that Siberian shamans would often consume this red and white mushroom for spiritual journeys. Reindeer are also known to seek out and eat these fungi. The stories of flying reindeer and a man in a red and white suit climbing down a chimney, the central smoke hole of a yurt, may be a distant, cultural echo of these ancient, psychedelic rituals in the frozen north. Fact 52. Fungi play a crucial and often invisible role in creating our weather. As mushrooms release their trillions of spores into the atmosphere, these microscopic particles can act as seeds for clouds. They are perfect condensation nuclei, tiny surfaces around which water vapor in the air can gather to form droplets. It is believed that the immense biological output of fungal spores can have a significant impact on rainfall and weather patterns, a quiet and powerful connection between the forest floor and the sky above. Fact 53. The oldest known fossil of a land-dwelling organism is not a plant, but a fungus. Discovered in ancient rocks, these fossilized threads of mycelium have been dated to be nearly 1 billion years old. This suggests that fungi colonized the land long before the first simple plants ever did, preparing the harsh, rocky surface of the early Earth. They were the silent, patient pioneers, slowly creating the first soils that would one day support the great forests of the world. Fact 54. While the death cap is infamous, there is another group of deadly mushrooms with an equally telling name, the destroying angels. These are several species of pure white Amanita mushrooms. They look beautiful, clean, and completely innocent, often mistaken for edible meadow mushrooms. Like their cousin the death cap, they contain potent amatoxins that cause irreversible liver failure. Their serene and quiet beauty is a stark warning that in nature, appearances can be profoundly deceiving. Fact 55. When a mushroom cap opens, the gills are a beautiful and delicate structure. They are also a marvel of natural engineering. The gills are perfectly designed to create the largest possible surface area for producing spores in the smallest amount of space. If you were to take all the gills from a single, common field mushroom and lay them out flat, they would cover an area of nearly 2 square feet. It is a quiet masterpiece of compact, efficient design. Fact 56. In 2010, scientists conducted a remarkable experiment to showcase the intelligence of slime molds. They placed oat flakes, a favorite food source, in a pattern that mimicked the major cities surrounding Tokyo. They then introduced a slime mold to the Tokyo flake. Over the course of a day, the organism grew outwards, creating a network of connections between the food sources. The resulting pattern was a near-perfect, highly efficient replica of the actual Tokyo rail transit system. The simple, brainless creature had found the optimal solution, a quiet demonstration of nature's powerful logic. Fact 57. We often think of mushrooms as needing damp, shady forests to grow, but some are masters of desert survival. The desert shaggy manare grows in arid regions of the American Southwest. It survives by connecting its mycelial network to the deep, water-seeking roots of desert shrubs like mesquite. It forms a symbiotic relationship, trading nutrients for a steady supply of water drawn from far below the sun-baked surface, a quiet partnership that allows it to thrive where other fungi would perish. Fact 58. The future of technology may be grown, not manufactured. Researchers are now experimenting with mycelium as a substrate for electronics. The dense network of fungal threads can be infused with conductive materials to create circuits. What makes this so revolutionary is that the mycelium is alive. If the circuit is broken or damaged, the fungus can, in some cases, regrow its threads across the gap, healing the connection. It is a first step towards a living, self-repairing, and completely biodegradable form of electronics. Fact 59. The beautiful, golden chanterelle mushroom, a favorite of chefs around the world, cannot be commercially farmed. This is because it is an obligate mycorrhizal fungus, meaning its mycelium must be in a living, symbiotic relationship with the roots of a specific host tree to produce its fruit. It cannot simply be grown on a log or in compost. This deep, unbreakable connection to the living forest is what makes the chanterelle so special. Its prized flavor is a direct gift from the quiet, cooperative magic of a healthy, ancient ecosystem. Fact 60. The chemical psilocybin, found in what are often called magic mushrooms, has a profound effect on the human brain. Modern brain imaging has shown that it causes a dramatic decrease in the activity of the brain's default mode network. This network is our brain's hub for self-reflection, rumination, and our sense of a separate self. By quieting this network, the compound can allow for new and unusual connections to form between different parts of the brain, leading to a state of profound interconnectedness and a dissolution of the ego. It is an area of intense study for its potential to help heal the mind. Fact 61. The familiar and delicious oyster mushroom is a quiet and patient predator. While it grows on dead wood, it requires nitrogen, which is scarce in its food source. To solve this, its mycelium sets almost invisible traps for microscopic roundworms, called nematodes, that live in the wood. The fungal threads form tiny, sticky lassos or release a toxin that paralyzes the worms. The mycelium then gently grows into and digests its prey, absorbing the precious nitrogen it needs to thrive. It is a silent, microscopic hunt. Fact 62. The beautiful, web-like patterns you sometimes see in decaying wood, a feature prized by woodworkers and known as sporting, is a form of fungal art. These dark, intricate zone lines are not part of the wood's natural grain. They are the border walls, the defensive perimeters, created by different species of fungi as their mycelial colonies compete with one another for territory and resources within the log. The beautiful patterns are a silent, frozen record of a slow-motion war. Fact 63. Not all fungi are stationary. The cannonball fungus has developed a remarkable form of artillery. It grows a small, cup-like fruiting body that contains a single, dark, spore-filled sac. Using osmotic water pressure, the fungus builds up an incredible amount of internal force. When the pressure is high enough, it fires the spore sac with an audible pop, launching it with an acceleration of over 20,000 gs. This makes it one of the fastest and most powerful movements in all of nature, a tiny cannon ensuring its legacy travels far. Fact 64. The relationship between the ambrosia beetle and its fungal partner is a perfect story of co-evolution. The tiny beetle bores tunnels into wood, but it does not eat the wood itself. Instead, it carries with it, in special pockets on its body, the spores of a specific ambrosia fungus. It carefully cultivates this fungus on the walls of its tunnels, creating a pristine garden. This fungal garden is the beetle's only source of food. When a new beetle leaves to start its own colony, it takes a precious sample of the garden with it. Fact 65. A rare and beautiful winter phenomenon, known as hair ice or frostbeard, is created by a fungus. Under very specific conditions, when the temperature is just below freezing and the air is humid, a particular fungus living on moist, dead wood causes water to freeze in a unique way. As the water is pushed out of the wood's pores, the fungus prevents large ice crystals from forming, resulting in the creation of incredibly fine, silky, hair-like strands of ice. It is a fleeting, ethereal sculpture, spun from water and ice by a hidden, fungal artist. Fact 66. The fungus known as koji, or Aspergillus oryzae, is the quiet, essential artist behind many of the most important flavors in Japanese and Chinese cuisine. For over 2,000 years, this special mold has been cultivated on rice, soybeans, or barley. Its job is to release a cascade of powerful enzymes that break down proteins into amino acids and starches into sugars. This process, a form of controlled fermentation, unlocks the deep, savory, umami flavors that are the foundation of miso, soy sauce, and sake. Fact 67. There is a mushroom known as the barometer earth star. This clever fungus can sense the humidity in the air. During dry weather, the thick, petal-like rays at its base curl up tightly around its central spore sac, protecting it from the elements. But when the air becomes moist and rain is likely, the rays absorb the moisture and slowly unfurl, lifting the spore sac up off the ground. This ensures that its spores are only released at the optimal time to be splashed away by the rain or carried on the damp air. Fact 68. It is easy to forget that the fungal kingdom is not just the mushrooms we see. The vast majority of fungi do not produce mushrooms at all. This immense and diverse group includes the molds that form on our food, the mildews that can appear in our homes, and the microscopic yeasts that float invisibly in the air all around us. The classic mushroom is just one beautiful and elaborate solution to the problem of spreading spores, but it is by no means the only one in this vast, ancient, and often invisible kingdom. Fact 69. The total weight, or biomass, of all the fungi living in the top layer of the Earth's soil is staggering. Scientists estimate that the total global biomass of fungi is many times greater than the total biomass of every animal on the planet combined, from the smallest insect to the largest whale. We do not live on a plant planet or an animal planet. We live on a fungal planet, where the quiet, hidden, and interconnected kingdom of fungi is the true, silent giant. Fact 70. Long before the first great forests covered the continents, in a time before even the dinosaurs, the tallest living things on land were colossal fungi. These strange, spire-like organisms, known as proto-taxites, stood over 20 feet tall. For millions of years, they dominated a quiet and alien landscape, silent, pillar-like giants in a world that was only just beginning to turn green. Their fossils are a humbling reminder that the fungal kingdom ruled the earth long before the age of trees began. Fact 71. The spores released by fungi are not just simple, dusty specks. Viewed under a powerful microscope, they reveal a world of incredible beauty and diversity. Some are perfectly smooth spheres, others are ornate and spiky, some are covered in intricate netting, and others are long and needle-like. Each shape is a tiny, aerodynamic sculpture, perfectly adapted for its specific journey, whether it needs to cling to the fur of an animal or float effortlessly on the lightest of breezes. Fact 72. Many mushrooms contain vibrant pigments that have been used for centuries by artisans as a source of natural dye. The dyer's parleypore, a soft, velvety fungus that grows at the base of trees, is a master of color. Depending on the part of the mushroom used and the type of fabric, it can produce a stunning range of brilliant yellows, rich oranges, and deep, earthy browns. It is a quiet and generous artist, offering up the colors of the forest to anyone with the patience to unlock them. Fact 73. The delicate, beautiful frost you see on a winter morning can be a perfect canvas for a certain type of fungus. When the mycelium of the Exodiopsis effusa fungus is present on a piece of dead wood, it can give rise to a rare phenomenon known as hair ice. As water is pushed from the wood's pores, the fungus acts as an inhibitor, preventing the formation of large ice crystals. This results in the water freezing into incredibly fine, silky, hair-like strands that can grow several inches long, a soft, white beard for the sleeping winter forest. Fact 74. Some of the world's most famous and sought-after dessert wines, like Satenses from France, owe their existence to a fungus. A mold called Botrytis cinerea, or noble rot, under very specific, misty autumn conditions, can infect the grapes. The fungus gently punctures the grape's skin, allowing water to evaporate, which intensely concentrates the sugars and flavors within. It is a beautiful paradox, a rot that does not destroy, but instead creates a sweet, golden, and highly prized nectar. Fact 75. Fungi can get sick, too. Just like plants and animals, they can be infected by viruses. These are known as mycoviruses, or viruses of the fungi. They live within the fungal cells and can have a wide range of effects, sometimes harming their host, but other times having no noticeable impact at all. It is a quiet reminder that even within the microscopic world of the mycelium, there is a complex, unseen ecosystem of life and disease, a silent, internal struggle for survival. Fact 76. In the humid tropics, another ancient agricultural partnership exists, this time between termites and a genus of fungi called Termitomyces. The termites gather dead wood and plant matter, which they chew into a pulp. They use this pulp to build intricate combs within their mounds, on which they cultivate their fungal gardens. The fungus breaks down the tough plant material, making it digestible, and in return, the mushroom it produces becomes the primary food for the entire termite colony. Fact 77. The comforting, earthy scent that fills the air after a rain shower, a smell known as petrichor, is partly a gift from the fungal kingdom. This familiar and pleasant aroma is caused by a chemical compound called geosmin. Geosmin is produced by certain types of soil bacteria and also by many fungi. When raindrops hit the dry ground, they trap tiny air bubbles which then shoot upwards, carrying the geosmin into the air for us to breathe. It is the quiet, familiar scent of the damp earth coming to life. Fact 78. The beautiful scarlet elf-cup mushroom appears in the damp, cool months of winter and early spring, often growing on moss-covered decaying sticks. Its brilliant, scarlet-red cups look like tiny, discarded jewels scattered across the forest floor. In folklore, They were believed to be the cups from which the elves and fairies would drink the morning dew. Their sudden, vibrant appearance is a quiet and joyful promise that even in the coldest, darkest time of year, the woods are still full of life and color. Fact 79. Many fungi have what is known as a secret identity. Throughout their lives, they can exist in two distinct forms. The sexual stage, which produces a mushroom or other complex fruiting body, is called the teleomorph. But they also have an asexual stage, often a simple, fuzzy mold, which is called the anamorph. For a long time, these two stages looked so different that scientists would often classify them as entirely separate species, only realizing later, through genetic analysis, that they were just two different chapters in the life of a single, shape-shifting organism. Fact 80. Many mushrooms, including the famous Amanita, begin their life completely enclosed in a protective, egg-like sac called a universal veil. As the young mushroom grows and pushes upwards, it breaks through this delicate membrane. The remnants of this veil are often left behind as a cup-like structure, or volva, at the base of the stem, and as the scattered, decorative spots on the surface of the cap. Every spotted fairytale mushroom is wearing the quiet, tattered remains of its own eggshell. Fact 81. The shaggy manem mushroom, also known as the lawyer's wig, has a very short and dramatic life. When it is young, it is a choice edible mushroom. But as it matures, it performs a remarkable act of self-destruction. The mushroom begins to produce enzymes that digest its own gills, turning them, from the bottom up, into a dripping, black, inky goo. This process, called deliquescence, helps to release its spores, which are carried away in the dark liquid. It is a beautiful and strange sacrifice. Fact 82. For centuries, travelers have told tales of mysterious, ghostly lights flickering deep in swamps and dark forests, known as will-o'-the-wisps or fairy lights. While some of these lights may have been swamp gas, many are believed to have been the soft, ethereal glow of bioluminescent fungi. Mycelium growing on decaying wood can emit a steady, gentle light, known as foxfire, transforming a rotting log into a natural, otherworldly lantern, a quiet and magical beacon in the deep woods. Fact 83. Fungi have developed a clever strategy for surviving difficult times. When faced with drought, fire, or the cold of winter, some species will gather their energy and weave their mycelium into a hard, dense, and dormant mass called a sclerotium. This compact knot of life can remain inactive for years, a hardened survival pod, patiently waiting in the soil. When conditions are favorable once more, the sclerotium will awaken, producing a new network of mycelium or a fresh mushroom. Fact 84. In the forests of Australia, the ghost fungus puts on a spectacular nightly display. This large, fan-shaped mushroom is a pale, ghostly white during the day. But when darkness falls, it comes alive, glowing with a bright and eerie green light. The glow is so pronounced that you can reportedly use a cluster of these mushrooms as a soft reading light. It is one of the most brilliant and beautiful examples of bioluminescence in the fungal kingdom. Fact 85. The cordyceps fungus, famous for its parasitic relationship with insects, has also been treasured for centuries in traditional medicine. It was believed to be a powerful tonic for energy, stamina, and lung health. Modern science is now studying these fungi for their rich array of bioactive compounds. It is a fascinating duality, a life form that can be a deadly parasite to one creature, and a potential source of healing and vitality for another. Fact 86. The mycelial network is a marvel of efficiency. It is driven to explore new territory and find new sources of food, but it is careful not to waste energy growing where it has already been. As the threads, or hyphae, explore the soil, they are able to sense and avoid their own pathways, preventing them from overlapping and creating a redundant, inefficient network. This simple, decentralized intelligence allows the fungus to create the most widespread and resource-gathering web possible. Fact 87. The complex, branching structure of a mycelial network can be used as an incredibly effective natural filter. This process, called mycofiltration, involves passing contaminated water through a substrate, like wood chips, that has been heavily colonized by mycelium. The dense web of fungal threads acts as a microscopic sieve, trapping sediment, chemical pollutants, and even harmful bacteria like E. coli, resulting in water that is significantly cleaner on the other side. It is the forest's own quiet water purification system. Fact 88. The bright yellow, gelatinous fungus known as witch's butter is not what it seems. This strange, brain-like blob does not grow on the wood itself. It is actually a parasite. It attacks another, less conspicuous fungus that is busy decaying the dead branch. The witch's butter taps into its host's mycelial network and steals its nutrients. The bright, jiggly fungus we see is simply the fruiting body of a successful and silent thief. Fact 89. For every single species of plant that you can see growing in a forest, there are likely hundreds, if not thousands, of different species of fungi living invisibly in the soil beneath it. The vast majority of these are microscopic, living out their entire lives as simple molds or yeasts. The diversity of the hidden, underground world is almost beyond our comprehension. It is a quiet, teeming, and supportive universe that forms the true foundation of the forest we see above. Fact 90. The characteristic, earthy smell of many mushrooms is produced by a specific chemical compound called octanol, sometimes known as mushroom alcohol. It is a quiet, volatile signal that the fungus releases into the air. This scent is not just for our benefit. It is believed to be a form of communication, a chemical message that can attract certain insects for spore dispersal, or perhaps even signal other parts of the mycelial network. It is the mushroom's gentle, earthy breath. Fact 91. There is a bracket fungus called the artist's conch that grows on the side of dead trees. Its underside is a smooth, soft, white surface. This surface has a remarkable property. Wherever it is lightly scratched or bruised, it immediately turns a dark, rusty brown, and the mark becomes permanent. For centuries, artists and wanderers have used this living canvas to draw intricate pictures and landscapes, a quiet and ephemeral art form where the forest itself provides the medium. Fact 92. The shaggy mannair, in its inky, self-digesting state, was once a source of ink for writers. For a brief period in history, this natural, spore-filled liquid was carefully collected and used as writing ink. Any document written with it had a built-in security feature. Because the ink contained the mushroom's own spores, it was believed that any attempt to fraudulently alter the text could be detected by examining the unique spore pattern under a microscope. Fact 93. High in the Earth's atmosphere, a constant, invisible river of life is flowing. This aeroplankton is made up of countless microscopic particles, and fungal spores are one of its most common components. They are swept up from the ground and can travel for thousands of miles, circling the globe in the jet stream. They are the silent, high-altitude travelers of their kingdom, a constant fungal presence in the very air we breathe and the clouds that form above us. Fact 94. When the great humongous fungus, the armillaria, slowly consumes the roots of trees, it is not just an act of destruction. This process is a vital and natural part of the forest's life cycle. By killing older or weaker trees, the fungus creates gaps in the dense forest canopy. This allows precious sunlight to finally reach the forest floor, which in turn allows a new generation of saplings and wildflowers to sprout and thrive. It is a quiet, patient, and necessary form of creative destruction. Fact 95. Our own bodies are a home to the fungal kingdom. We all have a small, quiet community of native fungi that live on our skin and in our digestive tract. This is known as the microbiome. For the most part, these fungi are completely harmless, living in a balanced, peaceful state with the trillions of bacteria that also share our bodies. It is a humbling thought that each of us is, in ourselves, a walking, living ecosystem. Fact 96. The tiny pilobolus fungus, which grows on animal dung, has a life cycle that depends on a powerful cannon. It grows a single black spore sac on top of a transparent, fluid-filled stalk. The stalk is photosensitive and can bend and aim itself directly towards the sun. It then builds up immense water pressure until it ruptures, firing its spore sac with a force of over 20,000 gs, launching it up to 2 meters away onto a fresh patch of grass. There, it waits to be eaten by a grazing animal, to begin its journey anew. Fact 97. Wood is one of the most durable materials in nature, largely because of a tough polymer called lignin. Very few organisms on Earth have evolved the chemical keys to unlock and digest it. The most efficient of these are the white rot fungi. They secrete powerful, specialized enzymes that can dismantle the complex lignin molecule. This is a crucial step in the carbon cycle, a quiet and essential process that ensures the nutrients locked within a fallen tree are returned to the forest soil. Fact 98. In the damp leaf litter of the forest, you might find a small, beautiful mushroom called the amethyst deceiver. When it is young and moist, it has a stunning, deep violet color, like a tiny purple jewel. But as it ages and dries, it fades to a dull, unassuming brown, making it very difficult to identify. Its common name comes from this very trait, its tendency to deceive the collector. It is a quiet reminder of the fleeting, transient beauty that can be found in the woods. Fact 99. Our genetic history is deeply intertwined with that of the fungi. DNA analysis has shown that the last common ancestor between fungi and animals lived more than 1 billion years ago. We are two branches of the same ancient evolutionary tree. This is why fungal infections in humans can be so difficult to treat. Because our cellular machinery is so fundamentally similar, a chemical that is toxic to a fungal cell is often toxic to our own cells as well, a deep biological echo of our shared, distant past. Fact 100. And so we arrive at our final truth for tonight, which is in many ways the first truth. The mushroom is a ghost. It is a fleeting, temporary shape, a beautiful illusion. The true life, the real organism, is the quiet, immortal, and ever-present network of mycelium from which it grows. This network is the planet's oldest and largest living thing, a silent, sentient web that connects the trees, that creates the soil, and that holds the memory of 1 billion years of life and death. It is the secret foundation of the world we know. As you drift now into a deep and peaceful sleep, perhaps you can feel its gentle, unseen presence, the quiet, humming network that holds the entire forest, and perhaps the entire world, in its soft, patient, and eternal embrace.
you.